In the bustling city of Accra, where the streets were alive with vendors calling out their wares and taxis honking impatiently, a woman named Amma believed she had found the perfect husband. Kojo was kind, hardworking, and devoted to their marriage. Every evening, he returned home at exactly 7 p.m., kissed her on the forehead, and shared stories of his day at the office. But something strange began happening after their third anniversary. Amma started noticing small inconsistencies. One evening, she mentioned a conversation they had the previous night about repainting the living room. Kojo blinked in confusion. Repainting? But we just painted it last month, he said. Amma frowned. That wasn't true. They hadn't painted in 2 years. The next day, Kojo walked into the house and greeted her differently. He always called her my love. But that evening he said, "Good evening, Adwoa." Amma laughed. "Who is Adwoa?" she teased. Kojo's face went pale. "I don't know why I said that." Amma brushed it off. Maybe he was just tired. But the strange occurrences continued. One night, he came home with a small cut on his forehead. An accident at work, he said. But when she asked his colleagues later, they said Kojo hadn't been to the office that day. Then, one morning, she found a pair of shoes by the door that didn't belong to either of them. Amma confided in her best friend, Efua, who suggested that Kojo might be cheating. Determined to find the truth, Amma decided to follow him. One evening, instead of staying home, she trailed Kojo as he left for work. But instead of heading to his usual office, he walked towards an old neighborhood she had never seen before. She watched as he entered a small, quiet house. Amma waited, expecting him to leave within minutes. But an hour passed, then 2, then 3. Finally, she approached the house and peered through the window. Inside, Kojo was laughing with another woman. A woman who looked eerily similar to Amma, but had a small scar on her cheek. And beside her on the floor was a little boy. A little boy who looked just like Kojo. Amma's heart pounded. She felt dizzy, breath coming in shallow gasps. Was Kojo leading a double life? Did he have another wife and child? Just as she turned to leave, she stepped on a dry branch. Kojo turned sharply toward the window. Their eyes met. For the first time in her life, Amma saw something in her husband's eyes she had never seen before. Fear. That night, Kojo arrived home later than usual. He stood in the doorway, silent as Amma sat waiting. "Where were you?" she asked, her voice trembling. Kojo exhaled, sat down, and rubbed his temples. Then, slowly, he spoke. "Amma, there is something I have never told you." Kojo told her about a village he had visited as a child, a place his family never spoke about. As a boy, he had wandered too far from home and met an old woman by a river. She had smiled at him and whispered, "One day, you will walk in 2 worlds. But be careful, for the time will come when the 2 will collide." Kojo had laughed it off. But years later, after he married Amma, the dreams started. At first, they were just dreams of another life. A life where he was married to a woman named Adwoa, where he had a child. He would wake up with memories that felt real. But then, the dreams stopped being dreams. "I don't know how it happened," Kojo admitted. "One day I went to sleep in our bed and woke up in another home, in another city with another wife. I was living 2 lives, and every few days I would switch without realizing it." Amma stared at him, horrified. "How long has this been happening?" she whispered. "For 3 years." Amma's blood turned to ice. Their entire marriage. Kojo pleaded with Amma to believe him. He insisted that he loved her, that he wanted to stay. But Amma couldn't shake the image of the other woman. The woman who looked like her but wasn't her. Desperate, She sought the help of a traditional healer in the outskirts of Accra. The old woman listened patiently before nodding. Your husband's soul has been split between two realities. It is unnatural. If it continues, he will fade from both lives and belong to neither. How do we stop it? Amma asked. The old woman handed her a small wooden charm wrapped in red cloth. Place this under his pillow. If he chooses this life, the other will fade. If he chooses the other, you must let him go. That night, Amma placed the charm under Kojo's pillow. As he slept, she held his hand and whispered, "Choose." For hours, he tossed and turned. Sweat formed on his brow. His fingers twitched. And then he stopped moving. He opened his eyes. Amma. Amma held her breath. Where else would I be? Kojo asked, confused. She felt a tear roll down her cheek. You're home. Kojo hugged her tightly. But outside, in another city, a woman named Adwoa woke up to an empty bed. She touched the pillow beside her, whispering a name she would never remember again. Amma and Kojo moved forward with their lives, but something in Kojo changed. Some nights he would stare into the distance, as if searching for something he couldn't quite remember. And sometimes Amma would wake up to the faintest sound of a woman's voice in the wind, calling a name that no longer belonged to anyone.